Okay, I gotta just start off with this one. I gotta say this. I gotta start it off right here. Personally, I'm more excited and I'm more hyped about Overhaul over Shigaraki. And that's not to take away from what Shigaraki has done and his immense potential to truly be the final villain of this entire series of My Hero Academia. But right now, with everything that's going on and the setup from this latest arc and the fact that he's essentially the counterpart to Shigaraki regarding the villains, I'm more excited about Overhaul, the dastardly deeds and how fucked up this dude is and how far he will go in order to get his goals of basically, taking over, so to speak, and being the big dog. Overhaul right now has me excited, and he's one of the reasons right now why I'm really hyped about My Hero Academia. Shigaraki, he's kind of been on ice pretty much ever since the whole stuff that went down with All for One and all that shit. He's kind of just been like in the shadows, building up, gearing up. But Overhaul, he comes through. He's not that big of a known guy yet, but he comes through and he's just massively changing the game, what he's doing, how he has that little girl that's supposedly his daughter. So many things about Overhaul right now. Overhaul is that dude, and again, I'm sure it's going to be short-lived regarding Overhaul, and in the end, Shigaraki is going to truly be the one, because like I've said in previous videos, if Deku is the main character that's supposed to be the big hero at the end of all of this, then Shigaraki is the main antagonist that's supposed to be the villain of all this. So yeah, Shigaraki will go beyond Overhaul. Overhaul will be probably stopped in this arc and thrown in jail, but Shigaraki will be that guy that'll be at the end fighting Deku. So in the past month or two of My Hero Academia, we've had quite a few different things go on. For starters, we had a big, nice little show-off, so to speak, of Red Riot, aka Kirishima, getting to see a little bit of him. I know a lot of people aren't that excited when it's not focusing in on like Deku or Bakugo or Todoroki. So to see Red Riot, his powers, him be able to not get affected, or essentially the bullet not being able to pierce him to take away his powers. Red Riot, those 2 chapters I believe that we had when he was out, on the field and whatnot, I was liking that shit. I was like, this is cool, this is good. You don't always need to focus on the characters. Popularity probably disagrees with me, because again, most manga, when you don't focus in on the characters that everybody really, really loves, the main big dogs, it kind of goes downhill in popularity. I don't know if that's the case in My Hero Academia or not. I'm assuming that it's not the biggest event or whatever, but those Red Riot chapters I really appreciated, just because it was like, okay, we're gonna focus in on somebody right now. We'll put the other stuff at the back burner. We'll get to it later. So getting Red Riot, and of course at the end of the day, it was at the same time advancing the plot and everything to do with Overhaul. That was some good shit. I like the Red Riot stuff. Argue that it wasn't the most exciting for other people. For me, it was. And once again, speaking about Overhaul, because when we had Deku and Medio in the field and they were kind of investigating and they almost had him, I really appreciated seeing where the characters were really determined. And it was essentially All Might's former sidekick that kind of pulled them out of there. But it showed them, and I think that's one of the bases of My Hero Academia. It's almost like, in and of itself, is a training for the one-day possibility of becoming a real hero. It was putting them out on the field and seeing, well, what would you do? And it showcases that Deku and Medio, they're on the same side in a sense of like All Might. And I think that that shows that they have the right attitude of not pulling out immediately in light of the investigation just because of the investigation. When you see somebody in trouble, you save them right away. So it shows that Deku and Medio, depending on what's going to happen with Medio, you never know. Because to me, it seems as though Medio is not necessarily expendable, but because of his similarities to Deku, I wouldn't be surprised if he would be one of the students that gets, the RIP, so to speak. Then again, with My Hero Academia, we haven't really had any deaths, so there's that. But I could potentially see Medio being one of the people that will eventually bite the big one, so to speak. That's just my thoughts regarding that. But when they actually got to experience, holy shit, there's somebody in trouble, we want to save them, and they kind of got pulled out of it, it obviously shows that they have the right attitude, and they're just students, they're learning. But if they would have taken action the way they wanted to, they could have potentially saved her. But there was also Overhaul there, and they didn't want none of that Overhaul, because Overhaul is looking like a beast. And honestly, for My Hero Academia, which a lot of people will put as, this is lighthearted, man, this is lighthearted shonen, which a lot of the times it is. It's a coming of age for these characters and essentially growing up to be superheroes someday. So yeah, it is lighthearted, but Overhaul brings a certain amount of darkness to this. And of course, he's one of the villains and antagonists of the story, but it's nice to see him bring a little bit of a change. Like, you got to think about it. If that is his daughter, it's even more fucked up. But whatever he's doing, he's taking advantage of a little girl to use her powers for really messed up things. And the introduction to this power that essentially can break Quirks, yes, you can heal up, but just think about it. If somebody that has powers gets shot up with like 9 bullets on some 50 cent shit right now, somebody's gonna get rich or die. No, but if somebody gets shot up with them bullets, there could be no return from the healing. And I'm imagining once they get rid of this guy, Overhaul, and they, you know, snatch up the little girl, that'll be the end of that. So we'll probably only have to deal with this threat for this arc, and once it gets done, then there'll be no way to make these bullets anymore. But the introduction to that is a really good thing, because we've seen that there's so many people in this world that, well, not so many, but there's a decent amount of people in this world that can heal up these quirks, and, you know, they can get back to normal. What if you put in a threat that cannot be voided, so to speak? Whatever they can do to a person can't be changed or reversed. I think that that's a good introduction, because it's kind of like, you know, the stories like the Dragon Balls. People say there's no threats because you got the Dragon Balls. Well, what if you put in a certain circumstance where the Dragon Balls, no matter what you try to do, you can't reverse it? And I think that these bullets is a good thing. Now, could there be somebody that could restore quirks? You never know, but I think it would be interesting. And theory time, as I was saying about Medio. Maybe Medio might not completely die, but what if he actually, to save Deku or to save somebody in general, gets hit with those bullets and loses his powers for good? Because I feel as though Medio, not quirk-wise, but personality-wise and the goodwill that he has, is very, very similar to Deku. Almost too much, to the point where it's kind of like we have two Dekus in a sense, and Medio could have very well be the Deku of the story. He could have been the main protagonist of all of this. So I think there's a possibility there with Medio. I think somebody, hopefully at the very least, so we could show how credible of a threat Overhaul really is from the good guy side, whether it be one of the senseis or Medio or any of these people. I think they do need to take that L, so to speak. They need to get shot up with these bullets to show that Overhaul wasn't a joke, and even if he gets captured, he did something in the process. So that's going to be interesting to see how they utilize the whole bullets thing that breaks quirks. I mean, at the end of the day, maybe they'll do it to a point where it'll be somewhat lackluster, in a sense. There's always a possibility there where somebody will get shot up, but they'll live just enough to be able to use some of their powers. I mean, that still will be okay if the quirk is so broke that it will never heal completely, so they can only use a portion of their powers. I'd kind of be fine with that too. It's not, now that I think about it, that disappointing, but something has to happen that's permanent damage using these bullets that Overhaul is, you know, crafting. And again, just going back to the overall thing of it, Overhaul and his daughter, or this little girl that it's dark shit. He's, you know, I don't want to say human trafficking, but it's dark shit from My Hero Academia, and I'm glad we have some of that, because whenever we bring in the villains, it seems as though because My Hero Academia is such a lighthearted story, they have to be extra dark to balance things out. You gotta have the, you know, all for ones where he just is a chaotic, crazy motherfucker, or, you know, the hero killer Stain, where he has these messed up morals in a sense. You need those people to balance out and not make My Hero Academia just completely campy. I also want to see a little bit more spotlight on Tamaki, the dude that he's part of the big three or whatever. I want to see more on him. I think that he's an interesting character. His quirk is really interesting as well. Being able to turn into essentially whatever it is that he eats is like, that's a kind of cool quirk. And honestly, My Hero Academia has been doing some pretty good things. I mean, post All for One, My Hero Academia hasn't been able to match up personally, I think, to that moment and that arc in particular, but I think it's starting to get there. I think we had that one arc that was kind of a dud in a way, the extra test that they had to take in order to kind of somewhat be on the field. Like, I think that arc in a sense was a little bit of a dud, but since then, My Hero Academia has continued to improve, and I gotta say it again, Overhaul is one of the major reasons, because Shigaraki right now ain't doing much. That's not to say that Shigaraki won't do much in the future, but right now, Overhaul is really rocking it, to the point where they even bringing in the students to have these meetings, you know what I'm saying? Night Eye is having to explain these things to students, and I think that Night Eye and All Might, and essentially in the concept, is like, Night Eye is what a Batman-esque type of deal would be, opposed to All Might is like a Superman thing. And the whole premise and the idea behind My Hero Academia as a whole is that All Might was the symbol of justice. He was the one that had it right. So I think the fact that the kids like Deku and Medio wanted to do the opposite, and Night Eye pulled them out real quick, showcases who has the right idea to begin with. So it's going to be interesting to see how they go about getting over the fact that they could have saved that kid, and they could have stopped all this to begin with, Deku and Medio. I mean, if anything, anything, I wouldn't feel bad. It's more so falls on Night Eye's shoulders, if anything, because he's the one that pulled him out. So My Hero Academia, as always, still rocking it. Really loving Overhaul. Definitely curious what you guys think for starters. Are you fucking with Overhaul more than Shigaraki right now? I mean, dude's a Yakuza, bro. Like, if that's not epic, I don't know what is. But then he's like human trafficking this girl that personally I don't think is his daughter. Maybe it could be his little sister. Maybe it could be somebody that he kidnapped in general and he's just playing her off. I personally don't think that's his daughter at all, but we gotta wait and see. And your thoughts on My Hero Academia as of right now? It's still rocking it. I think it's getting a lot better, especially, again, post that one arc. It just continues to get more progressively dangerous and is upping the ante now. The introduction to these bullets that break quirks is the best thing that's happened in My Hero Academia in a while, because there's no healing from that. You either gotta heal normally, or if you get too many of those bullets, you're fucked. And one more thing I want to add in, Night Eye's prediction of All Might and how far that could go. Really interested to see where that's going to go. I'm really excited to see if they could possibly change destiny, so to speak. So there's something too. Your overall thoughts on My Hero Academia the past month or two. But that's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and stalk my Facebook to get more when the video ends. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.